2023 hasn't been all that great for strategy games. If you're a AAA publisher, we've had one disaster after another. Total War in shambles, Company of Heroes not meeting the mark, and City Skylines 2, well, it's good, but shouldn't have been released at this date. The unsung heroes of 2023 are undoubtedly the double A's and the indies. And unlike the Game Awards that went with the more well-known games that perhaps were less than stellar, I've come up with my own list for the strategy game of the year. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Frags of War Game Awards. Award, since this is the prestigious game award with only one category. So, the nominees for the strategy game of the year are War Tales. I know this one's described as an open world RPG, but it is absolutely a strategy game. A sandbox game with a mix of RPG and turn-based tactics. What I love about War Tales is that awesome feeling of turning your ragtag crew of peasants into a grizzled band of adventurers. It really gives me that feel of those old game books, but in video game form. The star of the game is undoubtedly the gorgeous map. It's vast, full of life, and also has a bit of mystery to it. I do think the tactical battles are kinda serviceable, not really the best there is, but War Tales is more about the big picture, traveling and adventuring on the open world. I love it. Jagged Alliance 3. Boy, have we been waiting for this one for quite a while. After so many pathetic attempts at making a new Jagged Alliance game, finally it is Hemimont Games that has captured that perfect classic Jagged Alliance formula. It's pretty close to its Jagged Alliance 2 roots, with just enough of that modern touch to make it just as excellent as the classic. Zany, over-the-top 90s action hero characters managing resources and mercenaries while completing missions to make money and, well, saving the day. It's everything I could have wanted as a Jagged Alliance 2 fan. A worthy sequel. Well done, Hemimont Games. Age of Wonders 4. Age of Wonders 4 isn't a typical sequel that continues on with a story from the previous iteration. No, it's a complete rethink on how to do a fantasy strategy game in single player in terms of its campaign. It's more of a follow-up to the sci-fi Age of Wonders Planetfall. Big settlements with regions you can develop. Reminds me much of how a game of Civ is like. Age of Wonders 4 went down the route of being a fantasy game sandbox where you can create just about any fantasy race you want. As I said, like Civ, instead of typical story campaigns we had in Age of Wonders 3. Some may rue the loss of the typical story missions, but think of this as a reimagining of an Age of Wonders game, a glorious fantasy sandbox, and nothing quite comes close to what Age of Wonders 4 has to offer. Great turn-based strategy and some really great tactical battles with a big variety of units and magic. It's spectacular. Last Train Home. A really last minute inclusion that came by the end of November. Last Train Home is a real-time tactics game that has some rather unique elements from different genres, mainly roguelite and a tad bit of RPG. It tells the story of a group of Czechoslovakian soldiers at the end of World War I, finding their way back home on a train through a hostile Russia. It's really a game about managing your crew of soldiers, just like XCOM in a way. I think the user interface may seem a little complicated at places, which is a bit deceiving. The game isn't as complex as it seems, but you do have a large roster of soldiers to manage, which may feel overwhelming at first. you'll quickly get into the groove of creating different squads for different jobs, since soldiers have specific traits that help them in certain things like rummaging abandoned towns or foraging in the forest. The real-time tactics portion is not as deep as I would have liked. You can't take cover in buildings or place your sniper in high towers. I mean, this isn't Company of Heroes, but it's okay. It's more of the sum of its parts that make Last Raid Home great. Against the Storm. So Against the Storm comes out of early access on December 8th, so I do consider it qualifies to be on this list. Which is a shame, isn't it, for games that release in December? They never do get picked for Game of the Year lists. But not the Frags of War Game Award. Against the Storm is a fantastic game, and don't let that city building exterior fool you. Oh no siree, this is more than a city builder. It takes that now very common survival city builder subgenre and turns it on its head. It's got a dark, brooding setting with a vengeful and impatient queen you need to appease, and city building isn't just about production chains, but also to move you towards uncovering the map. Cut the trees to reveal the secrets beyond them. It's very much about exploring the map as it is about building your settlement. Not to mention there's also the survival bit where you need to go up against the elements. I wouldn't necessarily call this a cozy game, but at times it does feel rather cozy. Almost therapeutic to me. Before I get to the winning game, it's worth noting some games that didn't quite make the cut. Games like Galactic Civilization 4, cause I didn't play it. I definitely considered getting this one, but it just got lost in the busy period of launches in the last quarter of the year. Football Manager 2023 of course is a good game. Some may say a great game, but I'll never consider any iterative yearly game to be in the strategy game of the year list. Maybe when Sports Interactive, releases that complete rework they've talked about for the next Football Manager. So no, FM 2023, sorry. I was close to including Alien Stranded Dawn. This close. It's a Rimworld-like. Yes, I'm not sure if that's a term used before, but I'm claiming it, damn it. This is also a game developed by Emimont Games. So yeah, they're having a big year with two really great games. I feel it may not have that crazy generated stories like what Rimworld does. More typically like a builder or management game, but I'm not sure. Maybe the latest updates and even DLC might have added a lot more into it. And a fully 3D, better looking Rimworld is a pretty enticing proposition for many. I probably need to play this one more. There are probably other games not on this list. If you have a game that you loved this year, tell me in the comments below. And please hit the like button to help me out. And subscribe for more strategy game videos. I highly appreciate your support. Thank you. Now, for the moment we've been waiting for. The 2023 strategy game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, I'm kidding. The winner is Age of Wonders 4. I don't think any game is perfect, and sure, this list of games here have some flaws that I've highlighted, but for Age of Wonders 4, I can't really point to any negatives, but my requirements for picking my strategy game of the year has less to do with it being perfect, rather how much fun I've had with it. I've got to go with Age of Wonders 4 because it's got almost everything I want in a fantasy game, from an addictive strategy layer, fun and challenging battles, and customizing and even evolving my own fantasy race of creatures. Age of Wonders 4 is actually a class act. So that's it for the first ever Frags of War award. I'll do another video on games coming out in 2024 that I'm looking forward to, and hopefully that's not going to take forever and comes out before the end of this year. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye bye.